Let's talk power stations and Suzuki Jimneys. Hi, my name is Victor Bart. This is my 2005 Suzuki Jimny micro camper, and I'm powering the camper with a power station. And this is the Allpowers S1500. I'm using this power station for more than a year now. Allpowers sent me this unit for free to support me in building the Suzuki Jimny camper. I'm powering my fridge, my water pump, and my LED lights, and of course my RGB LED light strips in the window. And sometimes when I'm driving at the highway I forget to turn them off. I took the Allpowers S1500 out of my Jimny so we can take a closer look. I put it high up in here because if I do a water crossing and I would have some water in the car, I don't want to drown this because then it will be broken. So that's a disadvantage of this unit. You cannot use this underwater. We have a battery under here, an inverter here, and some controls and in and outputs around here. And if you compare the battery capacity to a lithium battery, it's around 85 amp hours. It's a pretty beefy battery, and to be honest, to power my Jimny, this is a big unit. I think I can use like one step smaller and still have a good working setup, because I don't use that much power, but my fridge can be run for a few days with solar panel to top it off a bit. And if I drive around with the Jimny, I can charge this unit in 4 hours instead of the 8 hours. I will show you later how I will do that, because I have a little trick for it with some Victron product. The unit is around 12 kilo, it's pretty portable and a nice handle on top. The rear has nothing, also no ventilation holes, so you can put this onto a wall. Here on the side you have ventilation holes for the cooling. So the first input is this input, that is for the 230 volt power charger. And to be honest, this unit hasn't been on the 230 volt power charger for a year or something, because I charge it with my Jimny like in boost mode. You can also buy a separate cable to charge it from your car, from the cigarette plug. And to be honest, I would love to see that they include that cable in the kit. You need to order separate. So that is a little disadvantage of this kit. I would love to see if they include all the cables. And here we have the solar input. And you can use up to 300 watt of solar power to this unit. And I have a flexible panel of 200 watts, which they provided me, that you can set up next to your car. But to be honest, I'm a bit lazy. I don't want to deal with like solar panels that you put down and set up and pack up. So what I have done is I put on my roof a 100 watt solar panel, just a normal one with aluminium corners, which is super sturdy, and it's always connected to here. And it works really solid because I can be off-grid with this car for a few days without losing power, because the solar panel is powering my fridge. So these were the inputs. You can also charge it by USB-C, but I never done that. But that's on the other side, we come at that point later. This output is 12 volt, 10 amps, and I run my fridge on it. It's a solid connection, never cut it loose while driving around. So that works great. But this is not the only 12 volt output. There's more on the other side, but we will be there later. And that makes this unit interesting, and that's why I chose to use this unit. So, now the front of the unit. And we directly see 4 230 volt outputs, because there's a 1500 watt inverter on top of here. We have lights here, so that's nice, an emergency light. Oh, it's dark. I don't know where my flashlight is. Turn them on. You have some light around you and you can do your thing. So we have some buttons here, but this unit also has Bluetooth, and I used the Bluetooth app once I was not really impressed with it in terms of it was super basic, and I can also use buttons to control things. And I think if you can use buttons, it's always better than Bluetooth. So this is the button to turn the display on, and you have some meter here that you can see how much is in the battery. Now the DC is on. You have here a meter how much goes out and goes in, and here you have the button to turn on the AC power. So you need to hold it in, and then it beeps. If you turn the inverter on, the fans start spinning. They are not silent fans. If you have a load on it, you will hear the fans. The inverter works pretty well. The biggest issue that I have with this unit is the meter of how full it is. I think it stays way too long on 100% and it drops way too fast to 0. One time I had my 500 watt water cooker on this unit, and I had to boil like 1 cup of water. And after a few minutes the unit was completely empty and it started on 39%. So I think the calibration of this meter is not correctly. So for the normal USBs and the normal 12 volt outputs, this unit is perfect. But for the inverter, I don't really use bigger loads on it. I think it's perfect for small loads, laptops, camera batteries, and hair dryer. Oh no, hair dryers probably a bit too much. But like basic stuff is fine. I once tried when it was on 100% my induction cooktop, and that was working really well. It was delivering the power to the induction cooktop. But then you see the battery draining quite fast. So if you want to do like the big loads, get a way bigger power station than this. But to power a Suzuki Jimny camper, this is perfect. And then you have like 230 volt if you need it. Don't expect too much from the inverter, in my own opinion and usage. Maybe other units of Allpowers have better results with it, but with this unit it's a bit lacking. And here of course the DC button to turn the DC part on and off. Now the third side of the unit, 3 normal USBs and 1 USB-C with power delivery up to 100 watt. I still need to test out my laptop charging on it. It will probably work fine. And I love the USBs because nowadays all my extra lights and walkie-talkies and stuff like that is all USB powered, and my phone of course. The USB part for me to power things in my Jimny is more important than the inverter. Also my new camera has a USB powered battery charger. I would even want to see even more USB ports. Why not? And now comes the 2 ports why I chose this power station. I was thinking, that's interesting, that is those 2 ports, and these are the DC 13 volt ports. So it's 2 12 volt outputs, both are 5.5 amps, so not high wattage outputs, but to be honest, to power an lights and a pump, and I have an extra fan that I can put in the Jimny for some airflow at night. These are perfect for it, and it has just the barrel style connectors, so you can plug them in and have like a little power 12 volt system. In total you have the 12 volt 10 amps output for the fridge, and then 2 5.5 outputs. So in total you can pull out 12 volt 21 amps, which is pretty decent. But what I love to see on a power station is an extra port here, like an Anderson plug, that you have like a 12 volt, like 30 or 40 amp output. So that you can put 1 plug in it to an extra fuse box, and then have your fridge, everything connected on there in just 1 plug. And also I love to see the higher output, so I can start up like a diesel heater. I cannot do that with this unit, and I cannot do it from my starter battery. So if I want to make like a little diesel heater for the jimny, I need to have another battery solution. So I love to see power stations with high amp Anderson plugs, because if you can power the inverter, you can easily power a high output 12 volt plug. And this power station has like one, a little bit, in my opinion, stupid design choice. That is that you have like the outputs here, and the in and outputs here. So on 3 sides. Why? Why put on 3 sides stuff? Okay, you have the cooling here, so I can expect, okay, we put the outputs on here, because if you plug in the cables you cannot block the cooling, which is fair. But to use this as a camper unit, I would love to see all the in and outputs on the front panel. So then you can just plug it in and build it like in a cabinet where only the front face comes out and where you have enough room for the cooling. But I think they designed it like this, so you need to plug cables in and you cannot block the cooling, because if you block the cooling, this unit will overheat and will die probably. But I used this in Germany last year and it was quite hot, and I had my car with the windows like a little bit open, because it wasn't too big event to put it open like this. And it was quite hot, and I have a thermometer in it. I had like that it was inside the jimny 50 degrees. There was a Coca-Cola can that was exploding, so hot was it. The fridge was running at full power in the heat, and the power station was running at full cooling power to keep up with the 50 degrees heat inside, because the solar panel was putting power in it. So everything was quite hot and everything was still working. So even in more extreme situations, this power unit is really solid. It will not let you down. So yeah, I really like this unit. It gives me all the in and outputs I need. I think this unit works really well in a Suzuki Jimny camper, or like a basic camper, or a more low budget camper, because you can charge this at a quite fast rate. So if I drive 4 hours, I can get it full instead of 8. Not sure if they disconnected it now. wait, I gonna look it up. Maybe I'm making this review way too late, but then it's more like also the information how you can use the power station in a camper situation. This unit is disconnected, but you still have the Allpowers S1500, the smaller unit, which is perfect to power my fridge and everything that I want. And it has like half capacity of this battery, so that would be a good choice. Or they have even the S300, like even smaller, but I think that's a little bit too small. That's more probably for tent camping, to have like some lights and your phone charging, stuff like that. And they have the Allpowers S2000 and also the S2000 Pro, which has a little bit bigger inverter, a little bit more battery capacity. So you just need to check out which unit works for you and which in and output you need. It's a nice unit and I like it in my jimny. And I maybe gonna check out on the website what newer models they have that could work. Maybe I want to try a smaller unit to save up more space, because space in a jimny, that is premium. So let's put this back, and then I will show you my method of fast charging this unit, and I will show you the solar panel on the roof. So let's show my secret method to fast charge this power station, and this is by this Victron unit. And this is a DC-DC converter from 12 volt to 24 volt, 10 amps. So this one is mimicking the power brick from the power station. And the nice thing about this is that you can set this up that it only charges the power station if you're alternator is making a certain amount of voltage. So I can just start the car and it automatically charges the power station, and I put relays and fuses in it, big cable to the front, big fuse by the battery in the car, and this works absolutely amazing. Normally you charge the power station while driving on 12 volt in 8 hours. Now on 24 volt you can do it in 4 hours, and I can even boost this unit up to 30 volts, and then it's even shorter. But to be honest, I think I'm gonna turn it even back, probably to 20 volts, 22 volts, a little bit less, because my power station, if I going on an overland trip, is always full. I don't need fast charging all the time. And here I have my Renault 100 watt solar panel. I just put it on. I first had a Victron 115 watt solar panel, but it was a little bit too big. And this Jimny is really off grid, because if you don't use your power brick for a year, you don't have to hook this stuff up, and it just works. So if you like overlanding Jimnys, Unimogs, power stations and power solutions, subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching. And thank you Allpowers for supporting my Jimny build with this beautiful power station.